Well, hello dear students, I am Zeeshan Sir. Today we are going to take up a few questions from the 2020 UPSC Prelims paper. These questions, which prima facie seemed very difficult, but were in fact very easy if the proper frame of mind could be applied and by the use of logical paper solving skills. Also, we will be talking about the revealed 3.0 club that has been recently launched on the Habitat platform and how I will be teaching these very skills to my students in just a matter of 10 days. And not only teaching, I will ensure that the students gain good amount of confidence to use these techniques in the real examination and in all likelihood end up scoring high marks in the prelims paper. So let's quickly start with the questions. The question here, as you can see, was a 2020 UPSC question. By the way, the questions that you're seeing on the screen are from the earlier chat history of the revealed 1.0 club that was ended very recently. So coming back to the question, in the context of Indian history, the Rakhmabai case of 1884 revolved around. Now there are three statements that have been given: women's right to gain education, age of consent, and restitution of conjugal rights. Now most of the students were caught off guard by this question. They did not have any idea about this question. So they ended up just skipping the question. But let's look more closely at this question. Could it be simplified or could it be answered without having any knowledge about the question or any knowledge about the Rakhmabai case that is being asked? Among the three options that have been given, let's probe their compatibility, or let's see if they are in sync with each other. Just like I said, the first one is women's right to gain education, second, age of consent, and third, restitution of conjugal rights. Now the second and third statements both are related either to marriage or to the physical relationship between the couple after marriage. And the first statement is about women's right to education. Now it seems very unreasonable that in this single case of Rakhmabai of 1884, that these two things would be interrelated. That is the conjugal relationship between the couple and women's right to education. So we are strongly assuming, we are just assuming because we don't know the answer for sure. We are strongly assuming that statement 1 is incorrect, and by that virtue we eliminate option A, option C, option D, and we end up marking option B as our right answer, which is 2 and 3 both. So what have we done here? We have probed the compatibility between the statements that have been given. Otherwise, there seems no other way to solve this question, given the fact that most of the students had no idea about the question. Moving ahead, the next question from 2020 UPSC paper was: the experiment will employ a trio spacecraft flying in formation in the shape of an equilateral triangle that has sides 1 million kilometers long with lasers shining between the craft. The experiment in the question refers to. Now this question is a very good example of how UPSC sets traps for the civil services aspirants. Now option A and option B. Now almost everybody knows about Voyager 2 and New Horizons. Students read about this in the current affairs, in the newspapers, or in the current affairs magazines of various institutions. Also, they must have read it in the science and tech portion of various magazines again. But our main point of interest here are option C and option D. They are Lisa Pathfinder and Evolved Lisa. The correct answer here is obviously Evolved Lisa. But the interesting fact here is that many students, a good number of students, ended marking up Lisa Pathfinder as their answer, despite knowing the correct answer. What could be the reason? Now, UPSC knows this for sure that Lisa Pathfinder had been too much into news, and the civil services aspirants had read about Lisa Pathfinder numerous times, many number of times. And it is very natural that instinctively or subconsciously our mind tends to mark option C as the right answer because the mind knows that this is something that it has read many number of times. Also, we can observe that how UPSC has placed the incorrect option, the misleading option, just above the correct option, which is Evolved Lisa. Again, to reiterate myself, a very good example of how traps are set by UPSC. Moving ahead, another question from the 2020 prelims paper was the Vital Vidvansak, the first monthly journal to have the untouchable people as its target audience, was published by. Now, this question is again a good example of how UPSC tests your risk taking appetite. Let me show you how. The given options were Gopal Baba Valangekar, Jyotiba Phule, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, and Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar. Now let me ask you this simple question. Among the four given options, which one option is the least heard of? Definitely it's A. Gopal Baba Valangekar. The other options, Jyotiba Phule, Mahatma Gandhi, Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar, we have not only heard about them, but we have read them in great depths in our basic books, in our NCERT books. But Gopal Baba Valangekar, hardly few students had read about this personality, or they had just cursorily heard about this personality. So it was very difficult for them to confidently mark option A as their answer. So again, eliminating other well-known options, option B, option C, option D, and marking option A, that is the least known name, Gopal Baba Valangekar, which was associated with Vital Vidvansak, we get the correct answer. But again, to reiterate myself, this question tests your risk-taking appetite, and a person cannot attempt this question if he doesn't have that risk-taking appetite, if he doesn't have that, if he can't take that leap of faith. Again, a very good example of showing how UPSC tests your risk appetite. Moving ahead, another question from 2020 prelims paper was, with reference to the cultural history of India, consider the following pairs. Now, three key terms were given. Now, this question was again from the cultural history domain. The key terms being given were Parivrajaka, Shramana, and Upasaka. Now, again, the students found this question to be very, very difficult, and many students ended up just leaving the question, skipping the question. Let's see, can we make this question easy? Now here we are going to use the technique that we call as wordplay. Now among the three given keywords, the three given names, which is the most known among the three? It is certainly Shramana. Parivrajaka and Upasaka are less likely to be known by a good number of candidates. Now talking about Shramana, what have we read about Shramana in our basic books, in our NCERT books? We know that Shramana or Shramana tradition is associated with sects or religious denominations like Buddhism, Jainism, and so on. And we know that these religious denominations were against hierarchy, were against caste system, and so on. And what does statement 2 say here? A Shramana was associated with a priest with a high status, which certainly doesn't make sense, given the fact that we have probed the meaning of Shramana from our pre-existing knowledge. Now, as we don't know the correct answer for sure, we strongly assume option 2 or statement 2 be incorrect. And if you look closely, if we eliminate statement 2, we are left only with one option, that is B, 1 and 3 only. So, we arrive at the right answer by using the technique of wordplay and again taking risk here. Certainly risk is being taken because we don't know in all these 4 questions that we have talked which answer is correct for sure. So this was in short about the 4 questions from the 2020 paper, which was seemingly very difficult but were in fact very easy. Now this is just a glimpse of what we are going to do in the Revealed 3.0 club. As already mentioned by me, I'll be imparting these skills in just a matter of 10 days, and the sessions of Revealed 3.0 club are going to begin very soon. The link for the Revealed 3.0 club has been provided in the first comment in the comment section below. And please be reminded that it is a limited intake club. As soon as the intake capacity, the quota is fulfilled, the admissions will be halted. Please do take note of this fact. So this was all about today's video, dear students. Hope you found the video helpful. Do take very good care of yourselves. Jai Hind.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civilsdaily.